and it is Wednesday, March 15th. It's the eve of the NCAA tournament. Of course, we're live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I'm on the road still. I'm going to be on the road for a little bit longer. So the scenery might change for me, but the the poor video quality that you guys, a lot less than what you guys are accustomed to, is going to continue. My light that normally goes here, I brought it here with me, and of course it broke. And I've been traveling with this for a long time, and it's like the plug that broke on it. So it's just, at that point, it's just garbage. It wasn't like a light that broke or something. It was the plug. So that's not going to be fixed. So we'll make shift. I'm using this, the colored backlighting and whatever. And, the show always goes on. The content's there, the picture there. And that's really, for us, what it's all about. But I have some exciting stuff to talk about, as well as, of course, the NCAA tournament, which is always exciting. Chris, what did you think of last night? We saw the NIT. We saw some teams that, maybe didn't want to be there as much. We saw other teams that were kind of happy to be there. And I think, in the opening round of the NCAA tournament, I thought, Texas A&M Corpus Christi missing that second free throw, it almost looked fixed.
Yeah. It definitely looked a little bit suspect, but I'll tell you that Texas A&M Pitt, that second game was really
if he hit, the thing is that if he misses the front end, it hits the back end, because it's two, right?
Yeah.
So if he misses the front and hits the back end, then maybe, but he hits the front end and then misses the back end.
To stick on 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where we will never know, unfortunately.
Well, we know.
Well, we know, but we don't know.
So we have a new app. It's not a Pick Dogs app or Sports Chat app. It's one of our other brands. And we have other brands. We're not just Sports Chat, Place, and Pick Dogs. We just don't put a lot into them. But we have wagering terms, but we also have betting calculators is another one of our brands. So it's one of our tech stuff. So we have an app, and you just download it from either the App Store or from Google, whatever it is for the other, right? And then you open it up, and it's really, really simple. It's just a very plain app, and it has, just all these different betting calculators on here that you can use. So I haven't used it yet. I just downloaded it right before the show. I was just told at my morning meeting about this, and I said, all right, this, I'm going to do some videos with this. The first thing they tell me is like, hey, we got you a new toy. I'm like, let me see how many different calculators I got here. I'm going to do another 50 videos a day. So we have a ACCA multi-parlay calculator, arbitrage calculator, bonus bet calculator, which you can calculate your bonuses, Dutching calculator, hedge calculator, Kelly criterion calculator, lay bet calculator, middle bet calculator, money line converter, over around calculator, spread converter, staking calculator, strike rate calculator, and win-loss calculator. Determine the chance of the bets with the same odds winning or losing on consecutive occasions. I always hear people, they beat them this day. They beat, right? We hear that all the time in the comments. So we're going to be doing videos with this. Arbitrage calculator. How much you should stake on each outcome to guarantee a profit? I get this question all the time. No, I don't do Major League Baseball postseason. I got March Madness. Why the hell would I bet on something where, who knows who's playing? Split squads. Right?
Yeah.
I'd rather bet on the ponies.
As long as you're not the guy that's slapping his own ass with the sports book trying to get the horse to go faster.
Anyways. Got is there NHL today?
Yeah, the 4 NHL.
All right, let's take a quick look at it. See what's going on. Capitals and the Sabres, Leafs and the defending champs. St. Louis versus Minnesota, and the Ducks versus Islanders. Chris, so the Avalanche were the Quebec Nordiques, right?
Yeah.
So how many Cups have the Quebec Nordiques won since the Maple Leafs last won a cup.
Oh, stop it. I don't know. I don't even know if I don't think they did, but they probably got closer than the Leafs.
Well, the Habs have a bunch,
Yeah. The Habs, I think they have what, 27?
Avalanche?
The Avs have.
No, I'm talking the Avalanche.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Montreal.
No, the Avalanche.
The Avalanche have won 3, I think. I know they won 3, and yet
Well, they won last year. Sakic and Forsberg won a couple.
And I think they won in back-to-back years. Three Stanley Cups. Yeah, or no, they didn't win in back-to-back years. They won 96, they won in 2001, and they won in 2022.
So, like, to me, in the hockey that I've ever followed in my life, it always seems if the hot goalie in the playoffs, you're in good shape. But there were 2 goalies, or at least there's been a lot of good playoff goalies over the years that have had good runs in the playoffs. But it just seems to me that Patrick Roy and Martin Brodeur could always just get you to the mountain. They were the guys that you could kind of rely on every time out. Ken Dryden was like in that way, but he also had a great team in front of him too. But Brodeur did it with less. And Roy did it with less and with more. He kind of did it both ways. And any goalies like that today that are just kind of like, man, he could just take the whole team right on his back. Because when Martin Brodeur was on top of his game, you could not score.
Yeah, I think one, before I focus on this year, I think one goalie I would add to that list of past goalies that could carry their team was Dominik Hasek. I mean, he would be able to put his team
less time span.
Yeah.
Less cups. Yeah. Those guys both have the hardware,
Yeah, I think Hasek still won a couple with the Red Wings.
Yeah, you're right. He did. But didn't Chris Osgood play a bunch of that too?
Yeah, Chris Osgood did as well. He was one of the more journeyman, or at least memorable backups. It was always just the guy that was unfortunately
he was the backup that played.
Oh yeah, no, I know for sure. I'm just saying he was just, it was always, the focus was always on Hasek, and Osgood kind of never got the recognition. But this,
I'll tell you where he did was in Sega Genesis. He got a lot of it.
It's so true. Like currently goalies that can put their team on their back, I would say Andre Vasilevsky for Tampa Bay, Connor Hellebuck for Winnipeg, even Ilya Sorokin for the Islanders. There's a few.
How about Fleury a few years ago with Vegas when he took them to the final in their expansion year?
Yeah, he definitely was able to put them on his back. He hasn't necessarily been that kind of goalie for his whole career, but that season for sure he was.
But Patrick Roy, it's like you got into like March and April and May, and it was just and Brodeur, it's like you just didn't want to do it. And there have been other goalies that have had big playoffs, Bernie Perrant, and there's been a lot of guys that have done it, but those guys just seem to 10 years down the road, it's like you see them when they're young, and then 10 years down the road they're doing the same exact thing. It's just, oh man. Yeah. And with the Avalanche for a while, he didn't have to do as much.
Yeah, he still had a really good team from, like I said, Sakic, Forsberg, Tanguay.
They even had Ray Bourque at the end, right?
Ray Bourque, yeah.
Scott Young. They had a good team.
That was a loaded Avalanche team.
Yep. Anyways, what do you think of these games today?
Are we doing all 4 or just the first 2?
Yeah, just all 4.
All 4. I'm going to go with the
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Go around the horn. It's just the 2 of us, so it's like
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Wild. Again, the St. Louis Blues back on a 2-game losing streak, and keep riding the streak until it switches again. The Blues just look like they're sort of playing out the string, and the Minnesota Wild are sort of heating up at the right time. Everything's coming together for them at the right time. They're playing good defense. They're winning low-scoring games, but now the offense is starting to pick it up for the Wild as well. I just think Minnesota gets the job done. The price isn't too crazy for the Wild on the road, considering how far ahead of the Blues I think they are. So give me the Minnesota Wild in that one.
Let me take a look here, see if there's any meat on the bone.
I think I know where you're going.
Well, definitely going against the Maple Leafs with the
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not even. I don't even have to look. Getting plus money here with the Avs, the better team. Like I just mentioned, it's that time of year, and the defending champs, 19-12 on the puck line on the road, while the Maple Leafs are disappointing, 13-22 on the puck line at home. And really, the Maple Leafs, not that much of a better record here than the Avs, and really not that playing that much better over the last 10. I just really like the Avalanche in this spot. And if I was a hockey bettor, which I'm not, I would have a premium pick on this game. Move on to the NBA. And we've got struggling here because normally I have a ton of screens, and
Yeah.
I think I could have put my other screen up too. Got the Cavaliers and the Sixers, the Heat and Memphis, and the Bulls and Sacramento. Any of those?
I'll go with the Sacramento Kings. It does, kind of feel a little bit funky that we're only having to lay a point here, but I think the Kings are just a better team playing better basketball. And, I say this all the time, if you told me that the Sacramento Kings would be the second best team in the West at this point in the year, I probably would have had you, institutionalized or admitted, because I wouldn't have believed it, but they're playing fantastic basketball. The Chicago Bulls, I think, are just treading water. I don't really know what this team is trying to accomplish. I don't think that they're going to be able to hang with the Sacramento Kings, even with the Kings on the road here. So I'm trying to see if maybe anybody was suspended from that little skirmish at the end of the game against the Bucks, but it doesn't look like it. So I'll take the Sacramento Kings, lay the point. I might also go with Domantas Sabonis for a triple-double as well.
I like the Sixers against the Cavs. I just think, I know the Cavs are resting some players here as well, right? At least the rumor is, which doesn't make a lot of sense at this point in the season.
Well, I know Donovan Mitchell was dealing with a finger injury, so I don't know if that's. I've only seen questionable for everybody in that game.
Well, we'll have to see how that one plays out.
Yeah.
I think like most NBA games, you kind of just have to wait till the last minute. I just like the way I would have taken the Sixers if he is playing. I just like the Sixers this year. Got the Rockets and the Lakers, Minnesota versus Boston, Celtics and Timberwolves. We got the Spurs and the Mavericks, and they seem to play each other a lot. And then the Clippers and the Warriors.
Yeah, I'll go with the Lakers laying the 3.5. I'm just trying to see who's been ruled out, because this line just feels a little bit funky at 3.5. But you know what? Sometimes maybe it's just a bad line, and that's what I'll chalk it up to. The Rockets, they may be at full strength, but that hasn't stopped them from getting their teeth kicked in more often than not. They are coming off of an upset win over the Boston Celtics, but I still think the Lakers they need this win more, and they have to take advantage of these softer schedule spots. Try to make up some ground and hold up. At least one of the play-in spots right now. So I'll take the Lakers laying the 3.5.
I'm gonna take the Celtics over the Timberwolves, and I'm gonna parlay that with the Clippers in this spot. I just think that the Celtics, the Timberwolves they're just garbage. I know the Celtics haven't been playing well lately, but the Timberwolves haven't been playing well for the last 15 years, and it just doesn't work for me anymore. It's like at a certain point, I just got to cash my ticket and say, you know what? I'm just going to ride the fade train on the Timberwolves. And it's like before I couldn't win fading the Timberwolves or betting on the Timberwolves, but now it's like I'm having success fading the Timberwolves. So I'm going to stick with that. And then I'm going to take the Clippers on the parlay here, because just the Warriors just haven't been a good road team. So I'm going to go with that. We go to college hoops. And let's see what we got to start the day. I thought those games yesterday were the NCAA tournament games were outstanding, except for that weird miss. Didn't you think that was a little odd?
A little bit. But I mean, it's like you said, it is what it is, and it's just the timing of it that seems a little bit odd. I mean, we've seen players miss, the second half of the two free throws to once the lead's up to two possessions. But yeah, when the line is set at 4, it does feel a little bit funky.
You've got Texas Southern against Fairly Disinterested, Florida against UCF, Youngstown State versus Oak State, and Clemson versus Moorhead. Any of these?
I really like the under between Clemson and Moorhead. I mean, when you look at Moorhead, a lot of their recent results against the better teams that they played earlier this season, getting into the 60 points was a struggle against teams like Indiana, West Virginia, Vanderbilt. And those games were all on the road, like this one will be as well. So don't know how much success Moorhead's going to have in this game, but I also don't expect Clemson to really light the scoreboards on fire either. To me, this just feels like a game that hangs around the mid 120s to high 120s at most. So I'll go with the under between Moorhead State and Clemson.
I like Oklahoma State against Youngstown State. I just think that, playing in the Horizon, I just think, that's one of the games where you kind of lean to the bigger, better team. I don't like the way the Youngstown went out. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma State in that one. We'll do 3-3 on the last 6. North Texas versus Alcorn State, one of the biggest spreads of any tournament game. Cincinnati versus Virginia Tech, and Santa Clara versus Sam Houston. Any of those 3?
I'll take Cincinnati laying the points against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech just was not good on the road this season. They went 2-9, both straight up and against the spread. And those 2 wins, both straight up and against the spread, came against Louisville and Notre Dame, 2 of the worst teams in the ACC. Cincinnati, they do their best work at home. They outscored teams by almost 16 points per game at home this season. They looked really good at home down the stretch. They just ran into a tough Memphis team in the AAC tournament. And I think the Bearcats just get it done. They get the win and the cover there. 5.5 just feels like a little bit light to me. I think this line maybe should be a couple more points in Cincinnati's direction. So give me the Bearcats there.
I like Santa Clara against Sam Houston. I just think that Santa Clara, we've seen them beat Gonzaga, and I think just giving them all those points. I think in college basketball tournament, there's really 2 rules of thumb that I use in college basketball betting and in tournament action. One is take the points, almost all the time. Take the points. And number 2 is the team that shoots the better 3-point shooting percentage. Those are the 2 things. So while Virginia Tech in your game that you picked doesn't have the better shooting percentages or any of that stuff, they're also missing the best 3-point shooter in the country for half the season. So tough to say if those numbers are correct. But on the other one, I just think Sam Houston is a good team. I just don't like them laying that many points against Santa Clara. It just seems to be a lot of points, for a game like that. Let's go one more round of games here. Arizona State versus Nevada to get into the big dance. New Mexico versus Utah Valley, and Oregon versus UC Irvine. I think they played earlier this season, right?
Yeah, they did.
And Irvine slaughtered them, right?
Slaughtered them by 14 points. It's 15.5-point dogs.
Yep.
And that's exactly why I was going to go back to UC Irvine here. I know Oregon, this is a senior team that, wants to probably go out with a bang and, maybe get a little bit of retribution for that game back in November. But I mean, like I said, we've seen UC Irvine do it once, and this is one of the better mid-major teams that's left that didn't make the NCAA tournament. I think, UC Irvine, they have the size to match up with Oregon inside. They played. I think they're the better team statistically on both sides of the floor. So I'm going to take UC Irvine plus the points here. If Oregon wins, I think this is a 4 or 5 point win. I think 7.5, even though this line's dropped 2 points, I think 7.5 is still too many. I'm going to take UC Irvine in the points.
I think I'm going to go with Utah Valley against New Mexico. I think you get Richard Pitino in these type of games, and just doesn't work for me. we still have New Mexico kind of fold down the stretch. I was a little concerned when I looked at this one and didn't make the premiums for me because Utah Valley is really not much to depend on here either. But I'm going to roll with them as a free pick in this spot. All right. We made it through the show. I'm sorry, everybody out there, for kind of ass dragging here. I'm on the road, and hopefully I get some better sleep. And when I'm over in Vegas, I'll be back to my normal self. Tomorrow, I might miss the show unless I could probably go like mobile or something. And then I could probably go mobile until my plane takes off. And we'll see how long I can go or whatever. We'll do the tournament first. You got a parlay for everyone?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Wild on the money line. I'll go with the Sacramento Kings, and I'll go with UC Irvine plus the points. And I'm starting to really love that Domantas Sabonis triple-double prop too.
I'm going to take Oklahoma State. I'm going to go with the Colorado Avalanche, of course, and put that with the 76ers. This is Mitch and Chris. Thanks for joining us. Make it a winning day. We appreciate each and every one of you.